Hey, this is Cindy Gould, and thank you so much for rejoining us at Create Your Victorious Life, where our goal is to help you to create victory in every area of your life. And I want to welcome you today to the Spanglish World Networks on Zingo TV, channel 250 and 251. Please remember to download both the Zingo app, TV app on the respective app stores, whether it's iOS or Android devices. While you're downloading, of course, make a stellar comment and give us a great rating. Thank you so much. This app is totally free. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, and also on all your smart TVs, 2016 and going forward. Today, I am elated to have Mr. Chuck Hogan with us today. He is an executive strategist, a relationship cultivation expert, and the co-founder and partner of Your Best Life. Is that cool or what? You know, the thing that I love about Chuck, of many things that I've learned about him, beyond his huge, long, illustrious career in executive management, is his goal and desire is to cultivate meaningful relationships that bring like-hearted and like-minded souls together that create amazing transformation through collaborations, mindful strategizing, intentional work, and commitment, so that there's always amazing value and there's always depth and experience. So thank you for joining us, Chuck, today.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Cindy, for having me.
Yeah, so grateful. So, and I forgot to mention, he is a devoted husband with beautiful babies that are grown. They're not babies, but
Big babies now. They're big babies.
Big babies. And that's how partially, and part of why you have such a victorious life too, I'm sure, is having that beautiful family that you have. And yeah, and creating your best life. So, you know, I always start off by just asking, knowing you because of our mutual friends and especially our dear, beautiful Vinu Keller, what have you done in your life? Because you've had many opportunities, I'm sure, to not live your best life and to, right, and to not create such a victorious life. What have you done to create this beauty and this wonderful life you have?
You know, thank you for asking that. And it's important to note that we are not our actions. That oftentimes in life, that our value or the measurement of one's perceived success or innate value in relationships is, what have you done for me lately, as Janet Jackson would say. And so I'm dating myself a little bit here. And so part of the challenge becomes, Cindy, is that when we're playing small, that what we end up doing is suppressing our natural tendencies and our energy, that we are restricting ourselves, that we're not really living our best life. We're just living life, or trying to survive. And there's these, you know, ideologies that we discuss. And it's like, I started learning that it wasn't good enough to just keep faking it as I was making it. And because it got to a point where it was like, I'm developing all these skills, but not at a deep level, at a very kind of surface level. So I can say, oh, yeah, I have that cert. Oh, yeah, I took a class on that. I read that chapter of that book. And I go, but did you read the whole freaking book? Did you actually put the exercise? It's like, self-help isn't going to get you very far. And so if you're going to pull it off the shelf, I said, utilize it. So, you know, and that doesn't mean that you're going to beat a nail into a piece of wood with the book. It means you're going to utilize the book with the intent and the knowledge and the insights, distinctions as they relate to you. So everyone can swing a hammer. Why you're swinging the hammer and what you're looking to hit with the hammer is as important as swinging the hammer.
Yes.
And this is where ecology started to come in. So to your point, I started realizing that stop criticizing self, stop being so critical of self, and trusting self. Because I only know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know yet. As I'm allowing myself to live in grace and space and faith and opportunity, I get to be me. And so I created this saying, and it's served me and my family well for the last 20 years. And the reason why we repeat it is that repetition is the mother of all skill. And so if you don't speak it and you don't live it and you don't be it, then you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So I looked at it a different way. And I said, I can be doing my best, but never being my best.
Mm.
But when I'm being my best, I'll always do my best.
Love it.
And they go, wait, what? I said, well, think about this for a second. How often have you asked, Cindy, someone how they're doing?
Oh,
And I
yeah.
go, yeah, I mean, it's kind of cliche and it's conditioned, but then I started realizing something. I was like, do I really care about all the doings? Because the truth is, they're only doing something because they are trying to feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy, contributory, grateful, appreciated, connected, loving, guided, whatever the case might be. And I said, so what if we change the narrative a little bit? And we actually just said, how you feeling?
Hmm.
Changing one word. And I go, wow, I get to be an implementer of engagement.
Ooh, that's
And
good.
it's simple to just ask a different quality question. And people go, you know what? I feel pretty good. And I was like, oh, wait, then your life is pretty good. And yet, if I asked them how they were doing, it was like they could have written a response on every sheet of 1,000-sheet roll of toilet paper and still run out of room to put all the doings that they're experiencing. But when we ask them how they're feeling, you're taking it out of a cognitive response and actually putting them in that heart space.
Mm.
And it's a total body experience at that point because it's like, oh, wait, I'm not just doing what I think. I'm being this way.
Right.
And that allows me to do the things I choose to do.
Yeah. That's beautiful, especially just getting them in that heart space. I know you and I both know the same, and many of our listeners know the same. You know, when you're in your head, you're dead. And I always add to that. And when you stay in your heart, you're smart.
Yes.
You know, and dropping into that space where what I really heard in what you were saying is you're creating a connection with them
100%.
in that moment, and you're connecting with them, right? And not just because you're right. How am I doing? Okay, well, my laundry's still sitting on the couch, and I've got, right, a myriad of, I was late for soccer practice, whatever, right?
Right.
And yet I slammed it on my presentation, whatever that is. How are you feeling? I love that. I love that. And when you said that, instantly too, I thought, inside of my spirit, I heard, and how are you being?
Mm.
How are you being?
It's an interesting concept, yet
Yeah.
we answer the questions that we're asked. And yet the dialogue that we're asking ourselves most of the time isn't productive.
Right.
Think about it. It's like, okay, so what's next? What else do I need to do today? What else do I need to accomplish? In fact, it's not called a feelings list or a being list. It's called a to-do list.
Oh my gosh. So good.
And so if you're going to change where your reticular activating system is being pointed, the RAS is beautiful. For those of you that don't know at home, just think that like the cone of shame that you put on your pet when they go to the veterinarian. It's just like this huge disc. Yeah, I know. That's a graphic for everybody. They go, I've been. And when you watch your poor pet, they're like going, you call them, so it's like, hey, Coda, huh? And it's like, this is where their attention goes, and they can only see this much. The blinders go here.
Right.
Well, put in your life, wherever you point your reticular activating system, your focus is here. Where focus goes, energy flows. So
Right.
now when I ask someone how they're feeling, the filter that they're going to have all day long, especially when they respond. Because I ask this all the time, Cindy, people say, how are the 3 ways that you need to feel most often today?
Mm.
Kind, contributory, prosperous. I go, awesome. So now every single engagement that you actually indulge in, that you elect to engage in, you're seeing it through this filter because your reticular activating system has gone there. However, on the other side, if I'm looking to be victorious in my life, and yet I'm concentrating on moving away from all the challenges, your
Right.
brain doesn't know what's real or perceived, and it doesn't process negative. So it's only looking for facts. So what is it calculate into? Problems. What are you going to get more of? Problems. Because that's what your focus is. And so
Right.
this is very simple, And it is. It's not rocket science. I'm not that smart. What I did figure out though is I was like going, huh, why are some people, and it's interesting, but why are some people, it almost feels like they're perpetually happy? And I was like thinking about that. And I go, yeah, I know a couple people like that. They go, are you like that? And I said, well, most of the time, yes. I used to have it where people would come up to me and go, why are you smiling all the time? I go, well, what do you mean? And they go, wait, yeah, like, dude, you're making me uncomfortable. Like, there's no one that is that happy all the time. And I go, okay. They go, you're doing it again. I go, I'm not trying to. This is just me. I realized something. And they said, well, how is it that you allow yourself to be in that space? And I said, because my focus is towards gratitude.
Yep.
My focus is in appreciation. My focus is in being present.
Yep.
And when I'm any of those three things, it's almost impossible to be a weenie. Like, it's almost impossible to be mean. It's almost, and it doesn't mean that I don't have moments of weakness. And those moments of weakness come when I'm not in appreciation and I'm judging or I'm critical, mostly of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say, if you're going to live large. There's no room for small.
100%. And show up. You know, I mean, and right? I had a friend tell me that, and I felt like I was showing up in my life, and yet I had some fears and some things that were in my way, and I was just not taking this teeny tiny little step, which was a huge step, right? And I made it a huge when it was not. And she literally got in my face and said, "Hey," and she's pretty intimidating anyway, you know. So she's like, "When are you going to show up?" And I'm thinking, I'm doing this and this and this and this. I'm showing up here and here. And she said, "And you're not showing up."
Right.
You, Cindy, are not completely showing up. And that, to your point. And when you said to-do list, oh my gosh, what a game changer. I wrote down to-do list versus to feel list.
Yes.
I love that.
What do you feel?
Right.
It's and people go, "Oh, Chuck, that's so woo-woo." And I go, "Okay, great." So let's measure this. You made a lot of money. Are you happier or you're more miserable?
Right.
And without provocation, I can tell you that money will make you happy for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I know someone who just sold his company for $13 million. He's 38 years old, just sold his company for $13 million. And by all accounts, he should be happy. I spoke with him last week and he's like, man, he goes, this meeting with financial planners, the attorneys, the estate planning attorneys, he goes, it's a full-time job and it's not what I'm wired for. I need to be in front of people. I said, but you are in front of people. He goes, not the people I want to be around. So the point in being is that we have this presupposition as to what we believe success should be.
Mm-hmm.
But you want success the way you want it. You want success in the way, it's kind of like, I love surprises. No, you don't. You like the surprises you like to get. You don't, you're being audited, surprise. And you're like, wait, what? I started going a whole different way in my head. Like, what just happened? Surprise, we have a warrant for your arrest. I'm like, wait, whoa, you got the wrong dude. What are you talking about? Just kidding? Am I getting punked? Because the difference is that we go, ooh, what we really are addicted to is energy.
Right.
Positive or negative. This is one of the reasons why in a victorious life, in your best life,
right,
they're very synonymous. And there's this ideology that if I get enough energy, then I'll be happy. This is one of the reasons why some people pick fights or they love to argue. They love to have conflict because they're not addicted to the connection. They're addicted to the energy.
Yep. 100%.
And it's like, ooh. So is that a good or a bad thing?
Right.
Cindy, I go, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
Some people go, you know what? We just love making up. And I was like, okay. Weirdo. No, I mean, sorry.
Exactly.
I could see in your eyes. I was going to say what you weren't going to.
Well, exactly.
The deal is that that's normal for some people.
Right.
And I'm like going, oh. And they go, oh, was it the Ward and June Cleaver? You know, like unicorns and pixie dust. And I was go, no, it can be appreciation, collaboration, communication, and living in a very heartfelt space where we're thinking about we, not just me and not just about they. We're thinking about we. You know, ooh, powerful.
Yeah.
Because now that transforms into a level 3 relationship, right? It's good for you, it's good for them, and it's good for everyone around you.
Yep. And it does even feed that energy bowl, you know, I mean, totally. And even, you know, to your point of people are addicted to that energy, good, bad, or ugly, right? And what's interesting with that is that because it's so habitual, and you and I both know that the neurons that fire together wire together. So because it's so physically to your body familiar, when you step out into what you just said, the woo-woo space, which is the heart connection, the ultimate space, right?
Yes.
100%. It's so unfamiliar that it's scary. And people often, and I know from your work and I know in my work as well, that, oh, that's not right from, you know, or whatever, because they're going to revert back to that's familiar. I'm going to still, it's better for me to know the rules. If I pick that fight, I know we're going to argue and then we're going to end up, you know, in that makeup space instead of, oh my gosh, how can I have this loving, you know, ongoing, like you said, and with the communication, we don't have to agree. We just need to appreciate.
Well, and it's beautiful what you just said, because there's this concept called secondary gain.
Yes.
And in the world of NLP, it's very interesting because when you look at secondary gain, it's that your addiction to even a disempowering state has a higher level of engagement and familiarity. So, you know, you have more certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection, growth and contribution. Anything that's above like a 5, if there's any 3 that are above a 5, you're addicted to that behavior. The challenge becomes is everything that you desire, and not that you want, that you need, is on the other side of this fear. Yet there's so much more anchoring, connection, and triggers that go along with this that most people can't. Let me rephrase it. It's not that they can't shift, they desire not to shift because of familiarity, time, effort, and this just fear factor of, well, what if it doesn't work? I go, oh, like when you were learning how to walk.
Right. Right.
Like, are you walking now? I'm walking here. I'm like, okay, that's great. And if you were judging it all the time and making it wrong every time you fell down, stubbed yourself, you know, because if you're playing athletics or sports or competing in different things, you fell down a lot. And yet you didn't judge it. It was part of the growth process. Yet what we have grown sensitive to, because we live in this world now, which I call the Amazon world, where you get online, you click a button, and then an hour later, or at least that day, or maybe even the next day if it's really slow, it'll show up on your doorstep. And you're like going, that's cool. I go, but you didn't try it on. You don't know if it's going to fit. They go, it's okay. It's Prime. I get to return it. And I'm like going, oh, it's like a freaking video game. You can just press reset. Right? But there's a challenge. And you brought this up. And thank you, my friend, for saying this. If you're not home to receive it, someone else gets it.
Yep.
So you can ask for it, you can manifest it, you can say, you know, oh yeah, I ordered this, it showed up, and it's like, but wait, where is it? Oh, it arrived yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
If you're not careful, a porch pirate's going to take it. If you're not careful, it's going to get delivered to the neighbor. Then now you're going to have to go look for it.
Yep.
Or are you living in hopium? Are you someone's going to? Hopium is more addictive than sugar, okay?
So disempowering.
I hope someone will drop it by. I hope someone will call me. I hope they'll check up on my well-being. I go, it's like winning the lotto. Are you playing the lotto? Did you buy a ticket? No. Are you hoping someone's going to give you one of those too? So you have the I'm like, be an active participant in your own salvation.
Thank you. Thank you.
What a concept. It's like, wait, I have to breathe in order to live? Yes. No, no. And I know people go, well, okay, that's a silly statement to make. I said, well, no, because here's the deal. The universe blessed you with what we will call some autopilot nuances in your body. Your heart beating, you breathing, you
Mhm.
processing, neurological flow, synaptic function, sensory motor coordination,
Yep.
the lymph in your body, 4 quarts of it, lymphocyzing your body, moving toxicity out, 2 quarts of blood flowing through your veins, delivering oxygen, nutrients. And I go, okay, I'm a vessel of useless knowledge if you haven't figured that out yet.
I
Now,
love it. This is great.
here's the interesting part about that though. If you are not aware of you, you will stop breathing. And I've seen people in a conversation where they're stressed and tense and they stop breathing. And I go, something that is organic and natural, and your body is responding in such a way where it's creating dis-ease.
Yep. What is not at ease?
Your heartbeat changes, your EKG and your EEG, so the waveform of your brain and the EKG of your heart are not in sinus rhythm, to your point, where that focus and energy are going into synchronous rhythm. Those are the best decisions you ever made in your life, y'all. I'm just letting you know now. When you said, oh, I made the best decision in my heart with the benefit of intellect.
Yep.
Not the opposite way around.
Yep.
And it's like, this is what we call congruency, authenticity. And how it shows up the fastest, be present.
Mm-hmm.
Be here now. This space, that 36 inches of energy around you is yours, unadulterated. No question about it.
100%.
Whether you choose to expand beyond that and be connected to the room, the building, the block, the city, the state, the world is up to you.
100%.
This energy has zero restrictors. The only restrictor is you.
Absolutely. You have no limits. That's what, when you hear that. And to your point, I love your Amazon analogy, because I'm thinking, here comes Amazon, here comes Amazon. Right, right. And when I'm thinking that though, it's like when you brought that and immediately, are you present to receive what you ordered, what your heart's desire is? When your brain is electric, your heart is magnetic. We know these things, and
Yes.
you're thinking and you're feeling and you're pumping this out. And like you said, how much energy do you want to contribute? What kind of beacon do you want to be? Do you want to send love to people that are in Gaza Strip? Do you want to send love to other people? Do you think that doesn't matter? That's not woo-woo. That's
No.
science. That's like bottom line science. And I know for myself, and that's 100% for me. I see that this is my belief, that we're boots on the ground, that we're God's strategy. And we're his strategy to bring light and love and joy and this conversation and presence to the world and to people, whether it's the checker at the grocery store or the mama that's dragging 4 kids and screaming after work and, in their cart, like they're hungry and grabbing everything off the shelves and she's just going to freak out. Even if you're walking by, like you said, that 36 inches, you can expand it a little bit to give somebody.
Listen, and you can direct it. Well,
Yes.
and here's the bigger deal. Being home for everyone that's listening doesn't mean sitting on your sofa and waiting for it to be delivered to the front door.
Yes.
It literally means being in a state and space of being that you've elected to live in. Because now when I order it, if it's prosperity, if it's health, if it's abundance, if it's fulfillment, if it's the most beautiful, unique relationship,
yes,
then be present and live in that harmonic state. So now people aren't getting what's left of you, they're getting the best of you. And here's a saying that we developed in my family, and it's because I wasn't living there for a period of time. My family and I deserve the best of me and not what's left of me. You will move heaven and earth for everybody else. You will push for a client, you will show up, you'll change your schedule, you'll do all these things. What are your priorities? Why are you working so hard? Who do you need to be Cindy or to be Chuck or whoever? Because I'm going to tell you, I know within this body, it's crowded. There's about 8, like there's a Chaz, There's a Chuck. There's a Charles. There's a Chucky, which he's.
Sure.
And so what's interesting is that which modality comes out.
Yeah.
Because I will remind you what you do and who you be in business
Mm-hmm.
and your moniker. In fact, I'll state it a different way. Do you get the same results of being the CEO in the boardroom as you do as being the CEO in the bedroom?
Oh, hello. Right?
I hope you're not giving someone a pink slip in the bedroom.
Exactly.
And so, I'm downsizing. Well, honey, we got to cut the budget. It's like, whoa, wait a second. So the point in being is that we have these different modalities and we take on these different identities.
Yep.
And how we show up when we're present is that you will bring the personality, you will bring the skills, you will bring the understanding, the listening, and the attention in that moment when you slow down,
Mm-hmm.
breathe, get in state. And what does that mean to get in state? It means remove all the cacophony and noise. In fact, if you want to get in state, it takes less than 20 seconds. Take your hand, place it on your heart, breathe in through your nose, out your mouth, and bring your attention and focus to that beautiful heart space. And within moments of breathing in through your nose, out your mouth, and just letting everything go, shoulders, neck, arms, chest, hips, knees, quads, you just feel yourself sink into that for a moment. And you're completely present and nothing else matters in the moment. Nothing. That's what attention is. That's what focus. That is literally flowing in the being of the moment.
Mm.
And it can happen that fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I even get shiny penny. Squirrel. It's like, wait, what?
Wait, what? A fluffy tailed squirrel. What happened?
Oh, because I have two. There's an oak tree right outside my office window. And I see these little buggers all the time. And I'm like going, I'll be working and all of a sudden it's like, squirrel. I mean, they're right there. And it reminds me and I go, I didn't have to look. But I was curious. But I go, yeah, they're cute. And I took a moment. Here's the difference though. I have the discipline now.
Yeah.
And this is from Jim Quick, by the way. This isn't mine.
Yeah.
I have the discipline to stay present for the time block I've set aside to engage in the things I've chosen to engage in.
I love it.
So it's not a have to, it's I get to, I've chosen to. And here's the reason why I'm going to say this. And if you take nothing else from me today but this, please borrow it because it's not even mine. It's Mr. Quick's. Love him. Jim, love you, buddy. You're amazing. When you get distracted, even for a moment, even for a millisecond, you lose 85% of your effectiveness instantaneously. Wow. So that's why when we say we're in a flow state, and we've heard this from people, oh, I wrote an entire book. I was in a flow state. Oh, I made this speech. I recorded this video. I don't even know what I said, but I was in a flow state. That's being completely present and connected to a higher power than just you in that moment. And you can condition this skill and not push through it, but flow through it.
Mm.
You don't leave with adrenal fatigue. Now you don't leave feeling completely spent and woo-wooed out. You're like, oh, wow, I actually feel really good right now. And here's the reason why. When you care and you share, you're sending energy out and people will reciprocate. And this cycle of giving and receiving becomes important. But you asked me something, Cindy, and I'm going to actually respond in another way. Number one was not playing small. Number two was becoming a gracious receiver.
Yes.
I know you. I know your heart. You love giving to people. That's who you are, my sister. I applaud you for it. I've been following you. It's beautiful to see, and we have mutual friends, and I love seeing you expand and grow. But what I will say is, I had to learn this. So I'm having a confession in front of everyone. I was an extremely poor receiver for probably 3 decades, if not more, of my life, because I always filled up by giving. And I thought if I made enough people happy enough, then they would love me enough back.
Mm.
And what I started realizing is that was horse trading, because I was waiting to receive something in order
Yep.
to feel full.
Yep.
When I switched and I said, I'm going to give because I'm so full,
Yes.
and I'm just overflowing, the abundance was everywhere. It came back to me tenfold. And in fact, to the point where I was like, okay, stop it, because this is too much. Like, and people go, it makes you uncomfortable. And I said, yes, I'm still struggling to be a gracious receiver. And what's the difference? There are some people who just go, no, stop, no, no. You know, you're like going, okay. And what I remind people of is that we are wired for connection.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Even the most staunch person that says, I don't like people. I like to be alone. I don't need anyone. And I go, that's interesting. So you brought yourself into this world? You birthed yourself. You actually like spontaneous combustion, and you put yourself in the oven, baked yourself, 2 cups of hot boiling water, stir, pour into mold. No, you came through someone who loved you.
Yes.
Failure to thrive syndrome is real. And so if you are not loved within the first 5 minutes of your existence, you will cease to exist. No joke, not hyperbole, not playing. The spark in your life, as I say, you know, the doctor, you know, you're going, okay, okay, wow. I didn't know that a booty smack was the signal. Like, thank you, doc, for the bottom love. I don't know what to tell you, but it's like going, but that spark of energy, and what it is that when emotion is felt, your energetic spark is lit. And cognitively, physiologically, kinesthetically, you're anchored into this universe. While you're in mommy's womb, while you're an embryo growing, while your energy signature, your quantum signature was being uploaded and imparted into you, you're made of protons, neutrons, and electrons. So you're a being of light. Thank you, Deepak Chopra, for clarifying that.
Yes.
So if we're all made of the same stuff, why do we argue about politics and love and money and sex and entertainment? And I go, this is crazy. And yet we applaud uber different. I want you to think about this for a second, irrespective of your political affiliation or what you may think about social graces and social monikers. How many actors do you know have changed their name from their original name? Do you really think Jamie Foxx's name is really Jamie Foxx?
Right.
I'm not judging, I'm just asking.
Right.
And the reason for this is that, or Prince, he even took his name away and became an insignia. And I'm like, or you could be P. Diddy or Sean Diddy.
Yeah.
Or Billy, because he's had like 15 different, you know, synonymous names. Why do I go there? If someone wants to be called something because that's what they identify with, why don't you just give them that grace? Bruce Jenner, who's now Caitlyn Jenner. I go, you know what? Your life, same soul, same spark, same protons, neutrons, and electrons, but the wrapping is different. So do you criticize someone who's had Botox or plastic surgery or reconstructive surgery because they had a horrific accident? How dare you change your physical appearance? What are you doing? What? Still same soul, same person. So I'm only asking this because if you're standing in judgment of yourself and going, I've got more wrinkles now, I really should do something about that. I've got a few more gray hairs, I really should touch those up. I've got a few LBs because it's after the holidays, and oh, I really should make it back in the gym. You know what? If it makes you feel better about you and it enhances your life and it makes you feel great about who you are and what you stand for, bless you and the opportunity you have to live your best life, to be victorious in how you choose to show up.
Yeah.
And I would just pray that the people that you love and respect you back and accept you for exactly who you are. And not because, oh, you had a little nippy tuck tuck done, right? Oh yeah. Or you're like going, wait, you had a little nippy tuck tuck done?
Right.
Where's someone? And I go, thank you. I, who made them judge, jury, and executioner?
Mm-hmm.
So why do I go there? You have an opportunity to be happy. You have an opportunity to feel full. You have an opportunity to feel connected and to love yourself. That was a concept, Cindy, that was something to me for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just thought if I learned a new skill, I just thought if I learned one more thing, one more approach, oh, when I get this down. And so I would practice and practice and practice. And now everyone became my guinea pig. Like I'm like a mad scientist, like going, so tell me about your father. Going, no, whose love did you crave more, your mom's or your dad's? It's like, oh boy, really?
Right.
Because there's a science to the success, but that doesn't mean that you're going to feel fulfilled.
Right.
Sorry, I went off on a tangent.
No, I love that. Well, because, I was thinking when there were so many nuggets. And one of the things, if anyone who watches my show knows, I treat it like a big master class. So I have like notes, and I wrote Jimmy Quick and Cone of Shame. And, I've got like all these things. And one of the things, well, a few things that you said remind me. And one, I had an experience, and I know you probably don't know a lot of my story, and just a small snippet during a 2021 to 2022, I had great loss in my life. And so I remember one day I was just really just sad. I was really struggling, and and I'm very much like you. Are you really always that happy? That whole you and I vibe in that place.
Oh yeah.
And I was literally, and I allow myself to be sad, and I don't care who's around. I mean, I don't have to put that smile on if I'm feeling it, it's happening. Kind of like that misty rain in Hawaii where there's no clouds, it comes and it goes, like that.
Yes.
So I forced myself in that ugly cry to look in the mirror, and I forced myself to do what I call the mirror exercise.
Yes.
And when I looked deep into my own eyes, and it was that moment of how much, what, to your point, to love myself. And it deepened my love so much. Holy cow, it deepened my love so much in that moment for Cindy. And it was such a hugely, in the midst of that pain, valuable experience for me.
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh. And it's almost like when they say you see your life flash before your eyes. I literally saw different experiences and opportunities I had that were painful and they were able to transform through the love for myself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
watching it happen, right? And
Yes.
the other point that you made was receiving. I had the same thing. I mean, what the most is as you love others as you love yourselves, all that. And yet it was, okay, I want to do this for you and do this, and believing that I was doing it because I love that person or I want to give them love. And what did I want to feel back? Right. That
right.
is what you're saying. And then switching it. And I remember just that transitional switch of allowing to receive and to receive those things. And, it was so amazing to me, that when you just allow yourself to receive. And like yesterday was my birthday, and I am, thank you. And and I got to spend the day with Vinu because, her mother lives close by, and it was just great. And so and then I had dinner with my son and his fiance, super great. What was really neat for me is, people, they get on your wall, on your Facebook or whatever, and they give you all these things. And there were different places where people posted their love or their grace and their thoughts towards me.
Yes.
And I always take the time, no matter how many, to respond to each of them. I don't do one lump. I want to feel that. And I've made a practice of receiving that, like physically receiving it and responding to it. Yes. There's so much value in what you said in that, because when you don't, I mean, it expands that everything that you're about, everything
effect.
Yes.
It really is. And the resonance frequency that you put out, it's kind of like compounding.
Yes.
It's you said something that was beautiful and brilliant, and you're like, you're that's like being the mist in Hawaii. It comes and goes. And I'm going to remind everyone that the only way you get a rainbow is if there is a mist.
Yep.
The only way that you get the light refraction, the only way that you get all the hues of the rainbow and the color is if there is the mist. And so in order for us to have all this joy and all this context in our life, you go, if every day was 78 degrees and just a sunny day, and I go, you would be bored as heck.
Yeah.
They go, no, it'd be paradise. I go, it would be Groundhog Day.
Yes.
Right? If the
Yes.
days were all the same length and there weren't some shorter, you didn't have to spring forward and then fall back. I go, ooh, okay. So what's the difference? I said, actually, it's a decision.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And people go, wait, what? I said, listen, the whole spring forward, fall back thing was all because we were based on an agrarian society many moons ago, and it was all based on the farmers. Because if the days got longer, then they're like, well, we got to spring forward because the day started earlier. Why? Because it wasn't pitch black outside.
Yep.
And then when the shorter season hit, and they're like, oh, well, we're not picking crops in the wintertime anyway, so it's a shorter day.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? Yeah, so sleep a little longer. You get to fall back. But and so people go, okay, so isn't it interesting how life mimics behavior and emotions mimic life?
Mm-hmm.
So in today's culture, there's a whole lot of cancel culture, and there's a whole lot of, I'll say, false narrative and imposter syndrome. In fact, I would dare say that many figureheads that are being adulated because people have this false expectation appearing real,
Right.
this fear, and they don't want to be like a Kardashian, or they want to be like a Jake Paul, or they want to be like these influencers. And I go, those are 1 in a billion, number one. Number two, that's great that you think that that's what you want to be. And I'm going to ask you why. Because there's a reason why they're an influencer. And it's not because they're just trying to put out good messaging.
Right.
Because they're getting paid insane amounts of money for what they do. And so there's a means to an end. And yet I don't go, wow, wholesome, forthright, dignified, caring. And they may be in their personal lives. I don't know them that way. But in their public lives, in their persona, it's like, yes, you too can have children out of wedlock. You know, you too can have multiple partners. You too can have a Range Rover, a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, a Bugatti, a Rolls Royce, a private BB jet.
Winning.
Like, okay, great. So for the average person, when they're growing up in their 20s or even their teens and living in an apartment, and you're living in a $50 million mansion in Bel Air, how much approximation do you have? How much, I mean, because again, I saw this recently, and I don't even know why this just came into my heart, but I'm going to share it. And it was a video of this group of young adults who are getting ready to leave high school and go to college. And what I loved about this, Cindy, is that they were all races, religions, creeds, colors. Like there's, you know, gingers and African American and Latinos and Asians. And I'm talking, when I say Asian, like I'm Indian Asian, Far East Asian, Pak Indi, Indochina, even Russian. Like they're all across the board. And then they said, let's talk about privilege today.
Mm.
And they said, we're going to do this a different way. So you're all racing for $100. Here it is. C note. Whoever wins the race gets the $100. And he goes, in fact, I'm going to make it better for you. The first 10 people, then there's like 35 of them. The first 10 to get across the line get a $100 bill. And it's way down there, 200 yards away. Because I'll be down there in a minute. I'm going to ask some questions first. And if you say no to any of these questions, I want you to take a step forward. towards the finish line. So he goes, how many of you were concerned about having enough food on the table over the last couple of years?
Mm-hmm.
And out of the 35, about 20 stepped forward. How many of you were worried about whether or not your parents would buy you a new car or a car for your 16th birthday? And about 10 of them moved forward. How many of you were worried about whether or not you'd be able to afford or if you would even get into college? And about 6 moved forward. It was interesting. So now you have this scattered group of folks. And the folks that are on the starting line way back here, they're looking, and some of them are like a deer in the headlights. Others are like, oh man, just say go, say go. I'm going to show everything, say go. Their hunger, their desire, this drive. I'm not going to be marginalized. I'm not going to be held back. So he goes down to the end. He goes, go. Everyone who was on that back line took off like a banshee. Like they passed, I mean, no joke, after like 15, 20 feet, they were boom, gone, just gone. And they get to the end, and out of that 35, those top 10, only one of them from the group that had an advantage or had been entitled was in that top 10.
Wow.
So what's the lesson? It's never about all the advantages that you've been given.
Mm-mm.
It's about what you do with the advantages. It's about how you show up. It's about how you live your best life, how you live victoriously in the options and gifts and skills that you have that are imparted all around you. And you don't take it for granted. You stay hungry, because I can teach you skill, but I'll be damned if I can actually give you the heart desire and the intellect, the burning, just this passion to live an extraordinary life.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. One of the things you said kept coming up through that whole thing when you started talking about Kim, Kardashian, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you had said, if you're not aware of you will stop breathing. And I know Dr. Gary Brecka, I'm sure you're familiar with him. And he did a study, and they put these people in these little tanks. And they thought that what was going to be the most important thing that moved the needle was love or lack of love or connection. It was 400% higher that people struggled, failed, were miserable, et cetera, because they weren't authentic.
Yes.
If you're not aware of you, metaphorically, you stop breathing. If you don't show up authentically, and to the point of, Chuck, to everything that we're talking about, you will not have your best life.
No.
You will not live victoriously. You'll be part of that 98% statistic where 8 billion people come to the world and 7,840,000,000 people leave here with not having stayed in alignment with their quote unquote assignment and not walking out what they were purposed to do and not living their best life or all those things because they're afraid. Like you said, false expectation. Did you say false expectation?
Appearing real.
Yeah. And whatever that is, that teeny tiny little mouse in the room that is more afraid of you than you are of it. Flip the light on and chase it out. Right.
Yeah. And there's two sides of that coin, because the other one that fear stands for is frick everything and run. And because that's the other one. I mean, seriously, I know a lot of people that go, that it's not worth it. I'll just forget it. Screw it. And I go, whoa. Like, why would you go there? And I say this with a whole heart. You can never outrun you. If you think that moving to another place, if you think that flying or, getting away from something, I just got to get out of here. And I'm going, you can't outrun you. You are stuck with you until you're not.
So true. So true. I am so grateful for this opportunity that I've had to share this time with you. Thank you so much, Chuck. Please share with us about your show, where else they can find you.
Well, I'm excited to have you on my show too, Cindy. So Your Best Life is every Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Central. And it's just like this. We sit down, it's unscripted. It's really about living in the moment, being authentic, and sharing best practices about where the world is right now and where we get to live, where we get to decide. And sometimes we just need a better question to ask. So thank you for that. And if you're ever interested in expanding into your best life, just come check us out at yblnow.com. It's a like-minded, like-hearted community of people who are entrepreneurs, really aspiring to live at a whole nother level. And I can tell you that the secret sauce is that it's about people who don't judge and who elevate and co-elevate one another. It's been beautiful and brilliant, and we get to help people move from being business operators into being business owners.
Love it.
And so get more free time, elevate your life. And Cindy, you're a blessing. I so enjoyed this, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I absolutely loved it. I share the same feeling. I'm excited to be on your show. And thank you, everyone who either watched while we're here, watched in the future. The show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check it out, spanglishworld.ca, for all the news and programming. And as you're out there creating your victorious life and living that very best life, just remember the Spanglish World is here. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. And thank you so, so much.